Hello, this is Arnold Kunert, and I'm here with three friends.
I'm Ray Harryhausen.
I'm Randy Cook.
I'm John Bruno.
And we're here to discuss one of Ray Harryhausen's early visual effects extravaganzas. It came from beneath the sea, this time for the first time in color. Ray, this is your first film with Charles Schneer. Tell us how that came about.
Well, I think he saw The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, and he had this idea of wanting to pull the Golden Gate Bridge down with a giant octopus, because there was, I think they just put the atomic bomb under the water for the first time, and nobody was quite sure what would happen.
Oh.
And so it would enlarge fish, or would it cause chaos, or what? Nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
So it was the unknown, basically.
And so anything underwater could have been affected, and Charlie Schneer thought, well, why not an octopus?
Yes,
Right?
because octopus is supposed to have 8 tentacles.
That's right,
so-
but we'll talk about how many it really has. Now, Kenneth Tobey, who's in this, was in your previous film, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms,
Yes.
and he was also in The Thing in 1951. He was a wonderful actor. Faith Domergue, we'll talk a little bit more about her later. And George Worthing Yates had previously done a screenplay or the story for them, the Giant Ant movie, a year earlier. So you had a lot of interesting people on this, and there's your name, of course, in glorious color.
Music conducted by Misha
Bakalanikov, and this film is composed principally of clips of other film music. Not much original here, but Misha Bakalanikov was a genius at taking pieces from Max Steiner and other composers and putting them together.
Not to mention being the master of the music sting.
And
The
yes,
lurid music sting.
That's right, the lurid music sting. This is another one of those films that all three of your black and white movies, now colorized, have a semi-documentary feeling. They all have little prologues that go before the titles, and they all tend to have a scientific bent, don't they?
Yes, it was very popular at that time. We wanted to make it seem more realistic by having a semi-documentary concept.
Right. As John and Randy and I were talking before we started this, there are a number of stock shots in this film, as there are in your other black and white films from Columbia, because that certainly saved money, but they're brilliantly edited in. And then you had some actual locations. This was actually in a submarine, wasn't it?
This was, yes.
Yeah.
They had a unit down in the submarine down at Long Beach, I believe it was. And but very tight, almost claustrophobic.
Now, was this indeed the atomic submarine of the script, or was this
No, I don't know
subatomic?
whether it was the actual atomic submarine. It probably was another submarine, but similar.
You know,
They had a number of World War II subs docked down Long Beach, I guess. But here's Kenneth Tobey's wonderful red hair.
Yeah, right.
Make sure he looks like he was a wonderful actor, wasn't he? He was easygoing, I'm sure.
He'd make a wonderful Dick Tracy.
Yes, yes. Great profile.
I was watching this earlier, and I was wondering who was the technical advisor on the submarine. Because when you come to the guys when they're moving, they're just moving these knobs.
yes,
They don't do
There
Yeah,
must have been a technical. Somebody advised
yes.
him.
They just continually do the same thing. They don't do anything.
You know whether it went up or down when they pulled a certain lever.
I
Well,
think
they
this-
never stop moving the levers.
No, that was the director saying, just keep moving something. I don't care. Nobody will notice. And probably in the 50s, nobody was that concerned anyway. Today, you'd have people who would be very technically oriented.
They count everything. Yeah.
There you go. Here's the
That's
guy.
the guy.
Moving the
That's one
knob.
of them.
This claustrophobic effect, I think, is good.
He never stops doing that.
Just keep moving. Now, up and down. Okay. Uh-oh, something on the...
Now, would that be the first special effect in the picture?
No, I
Did
didn't
you-
do that. That was done. I've forgotten who did it, but that
Sort
was
of an insert
was
department
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
insert department.
Looks like it could be following us. Whales sometimes get playful out
It's so long ago. It's very difficult to remember.
1955. Well, actually, you started on this film in late 53 or early 54, so
I think it was, yes.
it's quite a long time ago, but it's remarkable how well this little movie holds up. I think that's something all of us would agree that...
Well, that's the beauty about doing it in a documentary style.
Doesn't seem
it
dated,
doesn't
yeah.
seem dated then.
Right. And we all remember, well, those of us of a certain age remember how important the atomic bomb was in the 50s and how influential it was on our thinking. We were we were not quite sure what it was all about. And,
Absolutely.
it was terrifying as well as interesting and fascinating.
Particularly underwater. I mean, what would it do? Did it pollute fish or what?
That's right.
All ahead flank, sir. Give those atoms a poke. Give me everything you got.
Well,
I actually have to say the color is good here.
Isn't
Yeah,
it
it is.
nice?
Starting
It
to
is.
Yeah.
realize that it's really good.
You get to the point on these films, the colorization process is so well advanced now that I've had people tell me that they have forgotten that it was originally shot in black and white. It's that good. But the
It is. It
technology...
looks like it was shot in color.
Yeah, and that was your intention originally. If you had the budget, you would have done these in
We
color.
would have done them in color, but we just couldn't afford it at the time.
And this is the sort of film that was not on everybody's menu at the studios. They didn't...
But see,
Put
color,
these-
shooting things in color takes much more time.
Yeah.
You can't do it as quickly as you can a black and white film.
No. You'd have to go...
That's why I fought color for quite a while, because it would take. We were making low budget pictures, and it would take twice as long, three times as long.
Because you had to wait for overnight...
Yeah, you had to
prints
send
on-
your
yeah.
rushes to the lab. We couldn't develop them in our little homemade booth, so not in color,
No.
and so you'd have to wait sometimes 2 days.
Well, and also there's all kinds of problems with the duping process in color that you didn't have in black and white.
Yes,
weren't
and
there?
at that time, it was very difficult to dupe color, particularly on the little miniature rear projection, because the reds and the greens would all go a little different color. And when you tried to intercut it with the original negative, it hit you in the face.
The little rear projection that you mentioned, rather too modestly, is the Harryhausen innovation of which came to be called dynamation. And do you want somebody else to toot your own horn on that?
Yes,
or would you like?
do believe?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
basically, the projectors were made for Mighty Joe Young
Right.
by Cunningham.
But instead of optical compositing your creatures and your effects together in an optical printer, which was pretty much industry standard, what Ray came up with was a method of using miniature projection, which wherein the live action, which was shot first, would then be projected behind the puppet that he used. I guess it's no secret that we're giving away by saying they were puppets.
Yes, but
Shot a frame-
that suggests that they're dull.
On string. No.
Well,
Well,
actually, they are puppets,
Yeah.
but a special kind of puppet.
Yeah.
They're just not marionettes or puppets.
Articulated effigies.
You could put it.
Yes,
That's very
yes,
good. I love
yes.
that. Yes.
Let's keep that in. That's a
Okay.
good term.
But anyway, he'd put these puppets in front of a screen,
Yes.
rear projection screen, which was not moving, but which was stopped on a still frame, and he would pose the puppet, which had a posable armature, in an appropriate posture to that still frame, and then he would photograph that, advance the still frame of the projector of the live action, and animate the puppet. So he'd, and then
Match the
photograph that.
background, yes.
Right, matching the background. And
Was this
basic.
on ones or on
This was
twos?
this much of the time on ones, wasn't it? Most of the time, almost all the time,
ones.
always on ones.
Except
Very
I
slow-mo?
cheated a bit when we saw the octopus underwater. I had to move it in such a microscopic movement in order to make it look like it was underwater. So I shot some of them on twos. And it has a tendency to give a little jerky effect, but I think you can get away with it if you put a ripple glass in front of it.
Yes.
Very good.
But anyway, it was a huge innovation that was not only budgetarily advantageous to them, but the stuff looks better. The dupes look better in general than the much more costly optical printed composites.
Oh, yes. Optical printing can cost quite a bit.
Now, who shot the rear projection plates? Did you supervise that? All
Well,
of that?
the ones that were involved with my octopus, yes, I
Even
did.
with the actors in it?
And I had pictures, photographs of the particular scene that I would show the matte line, and so they would line it up according to that
The
photograph.
directors who worked on your films didn't always understand that you had to be there with the actors. They often thought you were interfering with their auteur.
Oh yes,
approach.
we did have some problems. Yes.
One at
Like
least
today.
one tried to get you fired. I remember. But we all know that Charlie Schneer backed you 100%.
Oh, yes.
This is a Harryhausen movie. We're not worried about your name on this. You're just a
And the
work for-"
director's main job on our type of film is to get the best out of the actors. And one journalist even said, it's a pity Mr. Harryhausen didn't animate the actors, which was, I think, very cruel to the actors. But we've always had very competent actors.
Yes, that's
Well, not star names, but competent.
no. Kenneth Tobey was always a reliable presence. Whenever you saw
Yeah.
Kenneth Tobey's name on a movie, you knew you were going to have a good film. He was just never considered in the A category, although he deserved to be. He just never seemed to be approached from that point of view. He did 3 or 4 films as a lead, but they were low-budget films, and then he worked primarily in support. But he was always reliable and always interesting to watch. I think he was well respected for that.
Yes, they all look at home in a uniform like this.
Yeah.
too.
Now, as far as your animation of the octopus, you've mentioned that because you had 8 tentacles to deal with, you decided to reduce your time by reducing the number of
Tentacles.
Tentacles.
Sure. Certainly, because one less. It's just like the basic concept of Mickey Mouse. He only has 4 fingers.
That's right.
And so why animate an extra one that you'd hardly ever know? Nobody counted them. I didn't think anybody would count them. And unfortunately, one time I was interviewed by a certain magazine, and I let it be known that octopus was actually a sextopus.
Only 6 tentacles. Well, it was Forey Ackerman's magazine, wasn't it?
Yes,
That
it
ran
was,
that?
Famous Monsters. And that got the reputation. Finally, it came down to 5 tentacles. And what would that be, a syncope?
Quintupus.
Pentapus.
Quintupus? Wouldn't that be a quintupus?
And then you thought it would be going down to a tripod eventually. But
If we cut the budget anymore,
But you
yes.
had 6 on this one.
We
because-
had 6, but it's supposed to have 8. That's why it's called
But
an
we
octopus.
wouldn't be able to see all 8 of them.
So what was the scale? I mean, how big was the actual puppet?
The
Your
puppet
animated
was
puppet?
very small.
I mean, did you have a scale worked
about
out?
this big.
big
I,
is-
didn't- I never
Ray's-
counted scales.
Now Ray is putting his 2 hands together, just so you out there who can't see us are wondering how big this big is.
If you have normal hands, it's about that big.
I mean, because I'm trying to get to the scale eventually
Softball size, about softball size.
of the ship that it attacks, and then the bridge, and what was the size of those miniatures?
Yes, you mean the ship that
Overall,
yeah,
it's coming
the
up
ship
here.
I got at a 5 and dime store, and I modified it a bit.
So it was like a foot long?
it was probably longer than a foot.
Right.
I think it was 1.5 feet. The
Well,
octopus,
that's amazing.
and the octopus, the head was probably around 3 or 4, 5 inches, 4
Like a
or 5
softball?
inches.
like a softball
around.
then.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
and then the tentacles from there. So we're looking at something that might have been, 18 to 24 inches in length total with the octopus?
If you spread the tentacles
Spread the tentacles out,
yes.
okay.
And although this was black and white, what color was the octopus? Did you actually paint
color,
it?
well, octopuses can change their color.
Right.
Whatever background, they can camouflage themselves. Oh, these are orange. Yes, sir.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
And that was, of course, the color they chose. We have no idea, but it looks appropriate.
It looks appropriate.
Now, the octopus in this film is leaning more toward the green, the dark green, a little more.
Well, they can change color.
They can change color,
But
but
I'm just curious as to the color based on photographing it in black and white. Did you
Yes, well,
pick
it
a
was
specific
a
color?
sort of a mauve, lavender mauve.
A lavender mauve.
And I painted the tentacles
I'm
lighter color.
Curious to see what it actually comes out
well,
to
I
be.
can guarantee you it's not lavender. We're not going to go lavender. In fact, when they were talking to us about the color that came up, I said, "Do we want to do this as Ray might have done it if it were shooting?" And I said, "That would be lavender." No, we're not going to. We're not going lavender with this octopus. That's going to reduce the terror.
No, we call it a mauve.
A mauve, but still.
And so, and I'm looking at a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. Is that orange? When you did it?
Underneath the tentacles are lighter color than.
Well, the Golden Gate was just painted. It was black and white for the film,
That's
so
what I'm asking.
it would be
Did
grayish.
you pick a
Yeah.
particular color to
Well, we
photograph?
painted it like the original red.
So you
reddish,
did.
Yeah.
That was okay.
And of course, it was a miniature that was matched to the real, built very carefully.
There's a lobby card on this film that is strictly a black and white photo that was tinted, and the Golden Gate looks pink. in there. And although the octopus has a greenish texture or color, the Golden Gate is definitely not the Golden Gate we all know from San Francisco.
Well, they put a color to prevent rust, I think.
Oh, well, on that, yes, but on this lobby card, it's not accurate. It's just for theatrical display.
But it wasn't pink.
No, definitely not pink. It'd be the pink.
Although
gate.
that would go well with lavender.
That would go well. And we're talking about a complete remodel. And here's Faith Domergue, who was one of Howard Hughes's proteges in the late 40s and early 50s. This was after she left Hughes's RKO. This was when she was freelancing, I believe. She did 2 or 3 movies around the same time in different places.
Pretty hot.
Very attractive.
Even today.
Even today.
She looks a little professorial.
Well, yeah, just keep watching the movie. She's very liberated. She actually was, her starring vehicle for Hughes was called Vendetta, which was originally slated to be a Max Ophuls picture. He started working on it. Hughes fired him and got Preston Sturges to rewrite and begin directing, and he fired Sturges, with whom he had a business partnership, and a couple of other people. I think it was eventually credited to Mel Ferrer, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a really typically troubled Hughes production with all the interference that would imply, and so that didn't do terribly well for her career. And she went on to...
She made This Island Earth.
She made This Island Earth, that's true.
No, that was the same year. This film was released the same year as This Island Earth. They were released the same year. I'm sure she probably did this earlier, but she was freelancing at this point. She wasn't under contract to Hughes or anybody else. By that time, I think he had sold RKO or was about to sell it. So. But she had 4 or 5 years with Hughes and some good films.
It's funny, the color on this, I'd never noticed him. I've seen this a couple of times. I've never noticed Ken Tobey asleep over there before, in black and white, but your eye certainly goes right to him.
It's the red hair, I think.
I think.
I think I became aware of Ken Tobey's red hair in one of the Disney programs he did back in the 50s, Davy Crockett and the River Pirates. He was one of the supporting actors, and when they released the film, made a feature film out of it, out of 2 or 3 hour-long shows, and they released in theaters. And that was the very first time I realized he had red hair. Up until then, we'd only seen him on black and white television because color TV wasn't prominent at that point, and ABC certainly wasn't showing it. But here, for the first time, and then from then on, I was aware of his hair color.
So, where was this film shot? Los Angeles?
On the set in the studio.
What was the studio?
Columbia.
Here in Los Angeles. Right.
Probably the Sunset Gower brand. It wasn't the main lot. It was a smaller lot, the B lot. This is a B
Is this
unit.
a set, or was this an actual place? I don't
No,
know how low
this
budget
was a
it?
set, I think.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll forgive you.
I can't remember that far back. They're all mixed,
Sorry.
This is a good many years ago.
It's only 57 years ago.
Is
Ray.
that all?
53. Yeah.
So you remember this as well as if
It's probably
as if it were
a
yesterday.
set from a previous film.
It looks like a warehouse. It doesn't look like a set, but it might have been on the Columbia lot anyway.
Yeah, probably a back room or something.
But no smoking, please. There's a sign prominently displayed there.
Leave
he's
that to Betty Davis.
He's a rule breaker. There he is smoking
Yes,
away.
he has a cigarette lit. And,
yeah, I'll tell you, he doesn't respect science.
Human romance. Now you tell me something, Commander.
no, I
I
think
like what
Oh,
she does.
yeah,
with her
I know.
hands.
Couldn't they have gotten a bigger test tube? I wonder.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Do you have much time?
Well, that's
this is the first of the 3 romantic interludes before the octopus. Now, Sam Katzman, you said, Ray, that Sam Katzman, who was the head of the B unit, had a different image of an octopus.
Yes, he did.
And tell us about that. That's a funny story.
Well, he had an image of, I guess, a cartoon octopus in Popeye, where they always drew him with his bulbous head upright, and instead of hanging like a bag.
And 2 eyes looking out.
And 2
at
eyes
yeah.
with the tentacles spread out. And it looked like a fire plug.
Yeah.
And so I had to make drawings. I even brought photographs from, I went down to Long Beach to photograph the octopus in the tank there, and to prove that I'm right.
Well, we're glad you got your way, because that would have
Oh, I got my way.
made this into a different movie.
I couldn't bear to
entirely.
operate it like a Popeye octopus.
That would have been terrible. The actor on the left is Donald Curtis, who appears in what would have been your next film after this one with Earth versus the Flying Saucers. And these people were all reliable actors. They were under contract in most cases to Columbia or available for different parts. And again, that just points out that these films were low budget, but they always had reliable actors who delivered the lines and didn't hold up production. And
Well, Ray said something earlier that I found interesting, that this whole story was based on Mr. Schneer saying he had the idea of pulling the octopus tearing down the Golden Gate Bridge. That's
Yeah.
where the story came from?
Yes, basically, because at
From an
that
idea?
time there was a lot in the papers about what will this unknown bomb exploding underwater, what will it do with the radiation and everything, and nobody quite knew. There were all theories about it, various theories, and that was published in the paper a lot. And he said, "Let's make a picture about that," and which became very interesting.
well, he was inspired by your film, the previous, 2 years before.
Yeah,
The
he
Beast,
saw The Beast from
which had
20,000.
the same basic premise of an atomic bomb
Yes.
setting loose something. So he thought, well, why not have something attacking Golden Gate Bridge?
Because that was the first time they exploded a bomb underwater.
That was Bikini?
I think Bikini Atoll, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's the oh, he's green on this. Well, see, the octopuses can change their color.
That's where we're
according
lucky.
to the
that-
background.
We're
Sure.
not, nobody's going to pick on this and say, well, that's the wrong
He's
color.
not-
Yeah.
It is lavender. Look at the underside of this.
See, now
You
he's
got your
laughing.
way.
Wow.
I have here, I wrote down that because I watched this earlier. It says a giant octocanal brochiata.
Oh, my gosh.
Good heavens.
That's
Is that what you designed?
Yeah, well, based on the one I saw in Long Beach Aquarium.
yeah. Well, it is now, John. If it wasn't earlier, it definitely is now. And that just
okay.
raises Ray's stock immediately in the academic community. He's a PhD.
There's an actor behind, it was a star years ago.
Between Domergue and Donald
Between
Berry? Donald Curtis.
Yes.
Oh, yes, he does look
I
familiar.
can't remember his name. But he was in films, many films as a lead.
Well, we want to apologize to his family for not knowing who he is, but we remember him as
He was
a
a
good actor.
famous stage actor.
Uh-huh. He does look familiar. You're right.
Uh-oh.
Ordinarily,
Now he won't eat fish.
No.
about catching a good meal.
But he's green.
Well,
But we can forgive it because it's well known that octopuses can change their color.
and I think it works better overall. When he gets to be a huge octopus, thanks to you, it's more terrifying that way, I think.
To have him gray.
Against the backgrounds. You'll see it. I think it's quite attractive.
Unless he finds some other creature to live on.
This is where we get all the scientific background so that the film becomes a little bit more believable in some respects because they're giving us all the details of why this might sort of
This is all for exposition, yes.
helping the audience understand that.
We want them to understand why and what's happening.
So I have an odd question. So what was the first actual scene animated? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, that's so. How can I remember 50 years ago? I think that I started on rear projection plates because
Oh, you had to do that, didn't you?
we had to have rear projection plates ready before the actors ran out of their contract. You know.
So
at the end-
when the
end of
when the
picture.
octopus attacks the boat, there's a rear projection plate there. So that would have probably been among the first things you did, showing the octopus coming out of the water, the tentacles coming out behind the deck of the ship, right?
Yeah.
Because you needed to
Remember
have that for the
they
actors.
used rear projection. They were always shot first.
Right.
Because that was very important that they have it ready. We have it ready as a plate when the actors finish their regular stance with the production.
And
So-
go ahead, John. That's
The
right.
first unit production here went for how many weeks? Do you remember?
Sorry?
How many days was
Oh,
the...
God, I can't remember.
No, I mean, these are
50
short. These are
years
quick,
ago.
short. I'm just curious.
Probably
Oh,
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 3
2
weeks,
weeks
a
Shot
month.
very quickly.
That,
the
and
production.
then you took... how
Then
long?
I took time.
You took
I've
6 months?
forgotten now whether I think it was over 7 or 8 months.
Right. So-
Animating it all yourself.
Because I did many scenes where it was cut up I did them all in one, and then the film editor cut them up and put close-ups and whatnot in.
Reaction shots from
Reaction
crowds.
shots,
yeah.
yeah. And that, of course, lengthens that out.
And that was standard for your three, at least the three black and white movies we're talking about for colorization. Your shooting schedule was probably 3 to 4 weeks tops, and then your schedule after that in post was between 5 and 7 months on the average. Something you think that's probably reasonable to assume, right?
Yeah, some of them took longer than others.
So usually from
But
start
see,
to finish. it'd be
there was
about-
only one figure involved. When we got color, of course, it took longer.
Well, the Seventh Voyage would have taken quite a bit longer. But you had your release dates on these three movies was they're all a year apart, but you probably had a year and a half of time from the start of
I
this
think
film,
so,
and then you
yes.
had a year and a half. But even though they were released within years of each other.
Now, speaking of the puppets or the puppet, did you have separate tentacles, larger ones for the close-ups?
I had 3 larger tentacles for the rear projection plates of it coming up over the rail of the ships, and various close-ups.
and for sniffing around in the window in San Francisco, and
Sniffing around, and I made it look like it was had eyes on
yeah, no,
it.
that was great. I mean, it's really
I
putting a
tried
lot of
to give it
character.
a character, yeah.
And those were more detailed, weren't they? The larger ones were more detailed, so they could be shown
Oh
in
yes, you
close-ups.
could do.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot with the smaller tentacles.
Right. Now we're about to get our first glimpse, I believe, of our creature.
That's a projection.
There's your rear
plate,
projection
yeah.
plate.
What was the technique here? I see the tentacle was shot with the background plate, and then the whole thing was rear projected?
Yes, and that was projected a second time.
Interesting.
Now, did you have a crank that you used? I think your book you
Yes,
mentioned
I
they have a
had
crank.
a screw mechanism.
Screw mechanism, right.
Frame by frame.
4 minutes. 13 seconds left.
And do you remember the format of your rear projection? I mean, the film? Is it full frame imaging?
Well, we tried to make.
35
We always
millimeter?
used a full frame, and well, we had to shoot when widescreen came in. We had to shoot for both compositions, so that if it was projected widescreen. Now this was a miniature ship, of course,
And that was animated together.
and I animated dry and put the waves in the white foam afterwards, which was shot against black.
It's remarkable.
Against black.
It's just remarkable.
Looks Kraken-like.
Later to be seen.
or
yeah.
vice versa.
Or
Yeah.
vice versa.
But see, I didn't have to do it in a tank. If you
So,
look,
now, was this whole thing moved? Did you have this on rods that you moved?
I had
this
it
whole-
on screw things so that I could screw it up.
so
Boy, that's
the ship
very
and that
vivid.
moved up and down.
Yeah.
A Sunset Restaurant, presumably in Hawaii.
Presumably, yes. They play Hawaiian music, I believe.
Little hula music in the back.
This is the first semi-love scene.
Ah, yes.
2 men after the same woman.
Just let down, nervous.
As nervous as a bride left waiting at the
So that tramp steamer you're saying you bought in a store? In a toy
The
shop?
boat, yes.
I thought you were talking about
We
this
didn't
the
have
character on
time
the
to
screen,
build
but
one.
yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But Ray frequented Woolworths. I think you said you bought the station wagon that appears in both the Beast and the Saucer movie. Little Dodge station wagon. It's about 3 inches long. That was from Woolworths, and other things. You didn't have to worry about having a mechanical shop or a miniature shop build those. You just bought them at Woolworths.
Yeah.
Kept them in business.
And they were just sort of props.
Just
that you
props,
put in
but
the
movie
last
show.
minute shot.
Yeah, they work, and whatever needs to be done. Yeah.
But you haven't even asked
That's the
me.
way we do it in the Navy.
But I haven't even had my dinner.
Would you order another T-bone, Doctor?
There's something else about this film, and actually all three of your black and white films from this period. The women scientists or the women characters tend to be a little more independent than the average actresses or portrayals during that era. Most of the portrayals by women during this period were just traditional romantic leads. They didn't have an independent life. And all three of these films, these women are either scientists or doctors, or they're certainly
Well, that was popular at that time.
Well, it was becoming that way, but it wasn't traditional. In most of these movies, they tend to be a little more subversive to the male characters, and it's refreshing to see this dialogue. The dialogue in these movies tends to be a little bit more sophisticated than people remembered from that era.
Snow's cold.
You've got to live through that era to really appreciate it.
That's it. Well, three of us here, not you, Ray, because you were doing the work, but three of us were enjoying these movies in the theater and looking forward to them every year, and knowing we were going to be getting a good film.
You're going to see you see the complete product. You know, you don't see the headaches that went with it.
No. But I remember looking for your name on posters and saying, "Okay, that's going to be a guaranteed good time. I'm not going to worry about."
And you were never disappointed.
Never disappointed.
Oh, good.
No.
Good.
Put my 50 cents down and enjoyed a double feature.
And it was worth every penny.
Every penny. And then when these first came on television, I had a reel-to-reel videotape recorder and tried to get those on tape, never realizing that there would be something like video cassettes or anything of this.
No, I mean, you'd have to, check the schedule every week, to see which Harryhausen picture would be on,
That's right.
And I remember a lot of us would and still do would watch them obsessively, and just over and over again. I just could never get enough. And now we've got HD channels broadcasting your stuff, and I still watch the sequences over and over again. So.
But do you look for the matte lines?
No, I look for the silver lining.
Look for the
as
silver lining.
always.
Always, yes. Now, they're so enjoyable to look at, and I think a lot of it has to do with recollections of when we first saw them, but also just that they're so amazing what you were able to accomplish with very little money compared to what people are being given today to do.
And a lot of ingenuity. I mean,
That's
why I'm rather grateful for that experience, because it taught me to think carefully that there's an expensive way of doing something and there's a less expensive way of doing something.
Well, I think that's great because you were literally forced to create your own technique.
I did,
Whereas
yes.
you weren't just handed a contract, but you knew how expensive O'Brien's work had been.
Yes, and there were certain things we eliminated. Mighty Joe Young, we had a lot of matte painters. We had 4 matte painters, and we had 4 projectionists and
extensive miniatures.
And extensive miniatures. And I
glass
tried to
paintings,
use as few miniatures as possible. And
well, it changed everything because your films literally set the standard for this type of storytelling in the 50s, beginning with The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and going right on through to Clash of the Titans. Your films were the ones everybody looked to for inspiration.
Well, and Ray was the only one making these pictures. I mean,
nobody else
now
was,
everybody now everybody's making Harryhausen pictures today, But back in the 50s, you were writing the book on it, and we
well,
went
I tried to keep
faithfully.
it quiet. I was interviewed many times about technical things, and half of the charm when I saw King Kong was that I didn't know how it was done, and I rather frowned upon giving too much away because I think it spoils the picture for people.
Well, it's like a magician, eh?
Yeah, if a magician tells you how he pulls a rabbit out of a hat, you're no longer interested.
Well, I think the fact that virtually every major Oscar for visual effects from the mid-'70s or late '70s, beginning with, I suppose, Star Wars or a little bit before that, almost every single one of those artists has indicated that you were their inspiration, beginning with...
I'm grateful we've left that legacy.
I think John and Randy would agree with me.
For sure.
There are 2 generations of effects artists, almost 2 generations.
Oh, probably more than that.
Who are indebted to you for films like this, which were low-budget movies, programmers with double features, and yet they hold up remarkably well. They're very enjoyable, and of course the visual effects are stunning, even by today's standards.
Well, I'm so grateful that pictures that were made around the same time have fallen by the wayside, and these pictures keep coming back and back to new generations.
No, it's amazing. You look at something you thought you had enjoyed very much in the 50s, and you realize that it really wasn't that good, but you see any of your movies, and you say, well...
They seem to hold up for new generations.
Well, and today, I mean, those of us working in the effects business today are still ripping you off, paying you homage, paying you homage. That's what I meant to say.
That's a better word.
Well, it's a French word, and it sounds more sophisticated.
Like Domergue,
Or homage.
homage, or homage, or something.
We'll go with either one of them.
We don't use the word filch anymore.
No filching. No filching.
But I knocked over the Washington Monument before Tim Burton did.
Really? I didn't know that, Ray. When did that happen? You mentioned that to Tim on more than one occasion.
Oh, I did, right to his face.
Oh, yeah.
He agrees. He agrees.
He nodded and said, of course. Where else?
So I'm not talking behind his back.
No, and he would be the first to agree with you. Yeah. I remember when you showed him the original saucers, 2 of the 3 saucers sizes, he practically fell over in surprise. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing the original ones.
Because the original were designed in a certain way, and his saucers were very similar.
Very similar, when deliberately. He was trying to honor you and honor the film that he loved. Yeah.
Now she's going to go to work.
Yeah.
She's been at work for a while.
Lovely lady, very attractive, and we don't absolutely know what color her dress was, but I think the color is suitable.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an attractive color with her hair color and so on.
And she's smoking.
And she's smoking, and it's probably a no-smoking area. Again, a part of the 50s that we tend to forget, but
Chesterfields, I recognize. You even colorized the Chesterfield back.
undoubtedly. And there's a product
Excellent.
placement there. We'll probably get something from Liggett and Myers on that. I'm not sure. But when we were doing the commentary track for Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, Ray made a point of saying that his father designed the saucers on a Craftsman
He
lathe.
made them,
Yeah, and so we're hoping that Sears will give us a little bit of a nod. Maybe a refrigerator, perhaps, be delivered to them.
This was when they were combination, Sears Roebuck.
Sears Roebuck. I don't know what happened to Mr. Roebuck.
I don't either. No.
Coming up here, I got a note to ask you, like RP screens, rear projections in the next sequence coming up. How far back was the projector?
It depends. On the side, I try to keep the picture
When we see
small.
the next scene,
Yeah, it
there's a
depends
car
on the
and
scene. I had it on wheels so that I could move it forward or backward. But I use really a long focus lens and make a smaller picture because then you get a better image.
right?
And
Contrast.
Hotspot. Right?
Hotspot was a very difficult thing. I used to use a neutral density on a wire, but then finally I got a lamp house that was able
slides.
to disperse a hotspot.
I saw it happen with my own 2 eyes. You know what did it? It was a giant.
And this was all done on stage at Columbia.
No,
not necessarily?
separately in my studio, in an old store somewhere,
where's that?
down in Culver City.
Oh, really?
No, he always rented a store, didn't you? You rented
Yeah.
a storefront, and then blacked out the front window so nobody would know you were in there.
Right.
And then that gave you privacy.
Not to mention the fact that you could shoot during the day.
You could shoot during the day, of course.
There's that.
There's always that. And probably the most important reason.
And the store had no windows except on the front.
But you did that on probably all of your early movies. You just rented a storefront so you could be by yourself and not have to have
Yes, I
interference
didn't want
from
to
anybody.
have to be accountable to anybody.
And you told me once, Ray, that you tended to, close up shop between pictures, and you'd get a new space.
Yes.
You were sort of gypsying about.
Well, we'd take our tent down.
Take your tent down. That's
because
what you
who's
said.
going
Yeah.
to pay for it?
Well, sure.
Nobody.
That's right. That's right.
Who's going to pay for the overhead in between pictures? And sometimes it takes 6 months or a year between pictures.
No, it makes total sense.
But you were, on these 3 little movies, you were probably busy on one or the other, but you weren't necessarily animating anything. You were in pre-production, maybe doing some sketch work and really in conferences, but you couldn't afford to just keep the storefront open. It was just a matter, it wouldn't be worth it.
So I had different studios at different places.
Now, when you went to England, you began working inside Shepperton and Pinewood. And
Yeah, but on Golden Voyage, I worked in a little studio in a local town close to my house.
close to where you live.
Yes.
Scientific demonstration.
Yes,
That's
that's exactly how the octopus will behave at that balloon movement.
Did Katzman watch the scene and say, "Is that what we're going to see"?
No,
Okay,
no.
that's good. That's good.
I don't know whether he watched the rushes or the daily. Charles did, and practically everything you see here is the first take. We never had time to do retakes unless there was really something wrong that was so unrepairable.
That's true, definitely with your work, but it was probably also true of the first unit. The actors probably didn't have to do more than one take, unless there was somebody.
Probably, yes.
Because it was a rush schedule. They only had 2 or 3 weeks to do everything. So, unless one of these, there were probably some non-professional actors from the military brought in just to make it more authentic. But unless somebody threw a line or somebody dropped a lamp in the background, they probably didn't bother with a second take unless they needed to, just to get through it. Maybe they did 2 takes just for coverage. But in your case, you were proud of the fact that you didn't need more than 1 take.
Well, we couldn't afford it. Yeah.
I think it
so you had to know the story and what happened,
Sure.
because you can't, in a script, you can't detail every move that you see on the screen. That's created. That's the beauty about the O'Brien technique over George Pal's or a static puppet, where you have repetitious figures that you just substitute.
Still figures, yes, substitute.
Yes.
Yep.
So here, there's more creativity because you have a flexible model, and one pose leads to another pose.
I think so. I can be ready in 10 minutes if you'll have a plane for me.
I'll see to it.
Thank you.
Now, when you started work, did you have a cut of the movie? Or did you animate scenes as you thought they should be?
No, I would cut the scene together so I knew where a close-up would be,
Right.
just in case something went
So
wrong.
you worked with editorial after they had shot the movie. You worked with the editorial department.
Yes, so
so
as
you
I
knew
went
where-
along.
and you had
as we went
storyboards.
along, yes.
Yeah.
Because I had to cut the sequences together, particularly in a certain sequence of scenes, so that I know how much footage to do on each
So
one.
that actors would match in a wide shot and a close-up.
Yes. And we usually covered ourselves with close-ups in case of an accident that we had to cut.
That's something else about these little movies that people never talk about. This nice stock shot.
I like it as white walls.
Yes.
That's it. Well, what's
B-47
it has to
bomber.
be. But the editing on these movies was very
Pollution.
Well, we're not worried about that in the 50s. The cutting on these movies was very good because the editors had to use stock footage, and then they had to deal with your footage along with the first unit. So that's something that nobody ever talks about. But I think in this case and your other movies, the other 2 movies of this period, the editing is so good because they were obviously rushed. And yet you had so many different things to deal with. A traditional movie, you just had the first unit, maybe a second unit. But in this case, they had that plus your footage and making sure it all worked. And quite interesting, I think.
This looks like Malibu, although it's a story.
Where was this shot? Do you remember
Probably down in Malibu.
Malibu? You like Malibu, Ray? Huh?
So this
yeah.
is
Well, they liked it
this
too.
is also rear projection. So
Yes,
you're projecting
the
the
background.
background.
Yes.
Now, did you have did the sand blend into the screen?
Oh yes, we tried to, wherever necessary.
Now, were you in on the shooting of this kind of RP
The
as
live
well?
action I didn't bother with
Yeah.
because it didn't involve me.
Right.
And as I said, I was busy making background plates.
Yeah.
So
Right. So you didn't shoot these background plates.
no, I wasn't present here. This.
But you did probably supervise when the octopus appears on this site.
Oh yes.
You were involved with that
Where I was
background plate, so
involved
you
in-
were aware where they're going to shoot it.
Oh yes,
Certainly, yeah.
absolutely. I picked the locations many times.
Because it would fit with your
Because
design.
they had
yeah.
to, you had to have matte lines in a certain place so it would look convincing. you
Right,
know.
right. This
So the
act-
sand. Oh, I can see the pile of sand there, where it finally butts up against the screen. Still a good technique today, actually, if anybody's interested.
Well, they match sometimes. Sometimes you can see the difference.
Well, especially since since the,
Particularly with color film, it's very difficult to match, because once you dupe it, the color changes, and sometimes your eye isn't able to pick that up until you see it on the screen.
right.
And so that's why it requires tests.
Here's a technique: day for night.
Day for
shot
night.
during the day and exposed differently and printed
Day for
to look
night,
like
yes.
night.
Yes.
And the same with the plate. Wow, that's how'd they do that, Randy?
Well, how do they do this? Well, they printed it down, didn't they? And
It's
Oh,
magic.
Yes.
It's
I couldn't
magic.
wait for night.
That's about it. Hadn't you better tell them I'm here?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, by
I
the
mean,
way,
back. You know, I'm looking for the backlight. I guess there's usually that's what they, since they can't really get cross light, you know, unless you've got some big lamps out there for that. You want to simulate moonlight, so you knock down the color because your eyes don't see in color in the dark, you know, and they tend to have these shots backlit.
This is the point where I probably went out for popcorn, I think. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Romantic.
We tried to keep it at a minimum.
Yes. Well, I knew I'd probably have to rush back from the counter because there would be an octopus scene very soon, but we knew this was a part of the story.
Hello, Leslie.
Hello, John.
Hi, John. Any sign of that whale?
The actor on the left is Harry Lauder, who was another good supporting actor, and in fact, he appears in 2 of your movies. He was in Earth vs. the Flying Saucers the following year. But one of those reliable supporting actors that people would recognize from a lot of television shows, and I think he had a series on CBS or one of those networks during the 50s. But again, just a typical reliable actor that the studios knew they could call on.
Oh, there it is, that giant octopodal Rocketiata, or whatever.
I wrote it down.
Yes.
It's worth repeating.
Headquarters in San Francisco right now. Deputy tells me that
We've got, and we're going to see it in a second. We're going to see it breathing, and you're going to see its little
Just a
siphons
tentacle.
working.
No, I
believe.
think
Do
you're
you
only
just
going to
know?
see a
Okay,
tentacle.
you see. I guess you see it at the end of the sequence. Is that it?
Just
I don't
before the
know.
fade
I've
out.
forgotten.
No, you got a shot of the business end of it as well.
Just before we go to black, I think it shows a full feature. Yeah.
sure. But there's a whole new breed who feel they're just as smart, just
Now,
as
did you?
curious as man.
This is a personal question. Did you work with an assistant, or do everything yourself?
No, I did. I worked by myself most of the time, and on some pictures I had an assistant only to help build things, rather not for animation.
But I mean, that's the amazing thing to me about Ray is that he designed the scenes and directed them and did the puppets and did the animation, did the compositing.
Now there we have a tentacle.
See, I had to use the
Now, how was this
There he is.
composited?
huh?
How was that composited?
Well,
was that an
it
optical?
was just a mat with along the top of the rocks.
That's rear screen.
Oh, I see that breathing on the
Yeah.
side. Yes. Ooh, get out of there!
And that's probably the last we'll see of Harry Lauder.
Yeah.
That was his farewell.
There you go. Full shot.
It was breathing. Yes.
And how did you do the breathing?
A bladder. I put a bladder in there and pumped it up frame by frame, and then released the air inside.
Closed
frame
it
by
off.
frame.
Closed it off with what? Did you close it off with a little clamp or something, or a,
No, I had what you'd call an orsat bag. The kind of pump, that
Right.
when they put a thing around your arm,
Blood
take your
pressure.
blood pressure, and it has a valve on it.
I see.
So you can let it out frame by frame. Just a little out, a little out, a little out,
Yeah.
and then screw it back.
You said you've done that with the little character in 20 Million Miles to Earth. You use the same technique with the
Yes.
breathing mechanism there, right?
I did, yes.
Our warning devices set up on Golden Gate Bridge should be more than adequate to keep the monster out.
Now, John, we're about ready to hear your little story about the Golden Gate Bridge when you were living in Sausalito. We can talk
We were
about
living in, where was that?
Was it Sausalito or across the bay somewhere?
Across the bay.
Across somewhere.
Walnut
yeah.
Creek.
Walnut
Concord.
Creek, yeah.
Family, my dad loved these movies. And every time one would come out, he'd say, he'd try to take us to the movies into San Francisco once a month. And we do this, family outing, which was take the Sausalito ferry from Richmond to Sausalito, drive across the Golden Gate Bridge, which is amazing then as it is now, to visit some family relatives who lived up above the Presidio. And down in that part of town, there was a theater that would show these movies. And so I remember sitting watching this, had no idea what was going on when I saw, first of all, there's a tentacle comes out of, I remember the two things I remember. A tentacle, giant thing comes out of the water and crushes people not far away from where we were. And then later, this thing crawls out of the bridge, from up the north pillar of the bridge and then tears it down. I remember being very confused.
And you were only 5
concerned.
at the time. You were
I was
very
about,
young.
I think I was
5 or
5.
6, yeah.
I was very, baffled by what that was. And then so we had lunch, I think, or it was after lunch. We saw the movie, saw my relatives, and then we were going to drive home. And then I remember we're going back across the bridge, and it was still there.
Oh, yes.
So I was not quite sure what I saw. Is this about to happen?
Yeah.
It was very weird. So that stuck in my. I remember being nervous. That's that
Going
is.
across
That's all I
that
remember.
bridge,
Being
yeah.
nervous going across the bridge, and then questioning for a long time, what did I just see? And I told Ray when I met him once that I really thought this was the movie that got me interested in doing visual effects. Like how was that done? I have to know. It affected me. In a good way.
I kept it very quiet, so people like you wouldn't know how it's done.
Well, I think this is the one that sort of got me interested. And the next film that I liked was the skeleton fight. I recall that as being impressive.
Yeah.
And then and I asked Jim Cameron one day, what was your favorite Harryhausen movie? Because I had a favorite, as far as I thought, a realistic film, which was Mysterious Island, and that was his favorite. So we discussed Mysterious Island for quite a while.
Wonderful. Well, years later, you had a chance to do your own version of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, so during X-Men, part of there was the main scene that was sort of developed was that Magneto basically walks onto the Golden Gate Bridge, rips it up, and floats it magnetically over to Alcatraz.
Another homage.
And then at that point I thought that's when I actually remembered this whole story.
That's great. That's great. And you purged your fears with that image.
I got back at the bridge.
How dare that bridge. It's wonderful how things stick in your mind. When you're a child, you're just so impressed by what you're looking at. I remember when The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms was released, and the Beast was destroying what was supposed to be Coney Island. It was not that, but it was supposed to be Coney Island. I was young, and I remember my parents talking about going to see my relatives in New York and New Jersey, and I said, "Well, can we go see Coney Island because I want to see where the roller coaster was destroyed." They said, "No, you understand that was a movie."
Well, here we had to submit our script to the city fathers. For approval, so
Yes.
we'd get cooperation from the police. And they turned it down because they said, we don't want people to lose faith in the Golden Gate Bridge. It was just built, and so they wouldn't give us cooperation. So we had to shoot out of the back of bakery trucks and various other devious ways of
So
getting
all the
our
footage,
shots.
all your plates, all the stuff you needed was guerrilla. It was all guerrilla filmmaking.
That's right.
Oh, excellent.
But they didn't object when they saw the picture. That they didn't. It's a fantasy, obviously.
I remember when the film was released, the San Francisco Chronicle. I used to buy out-of-town newspapers when I was living in Chicago, and I knew this film was shot partially in San Francisco, so I bought a copy of the Chronicle the week it was released, and there was an article, a full-page article in their weekend edition, and one of the shots was of the octopus wrapping its tentacle around the ferry building, I think, and so they weren't afraid to promote the city in that respect. They were very proud of the fact that this movie had been made in that city. And I think isn't it except for X-Men, isn't it one of the only movies that was ever used as a backdrop for a science fiction film? I don't recall too many other ones. Maybe there may have been.
I don't know.
It's a beautiful city. It's surprising it hasn't been used for.
Yeah, it needs to be tromped on again. This is Crissy Field.
Oh, really? Oh, wonderful.
When we were shooting plates, it's like, where's the runway? It's gone. It was coastal defense at that time.
Oh, yes.
It was built for that.
Entering minefield.
Number 40, south.
Range, dead on.
Fire!
Fire.
Fire! Stand by, number 38, mine. Fire!
Fire.
A lot of these are stock shots we bought from other pictures.
Some of the explosions are.
32, south sector. Approaching 32.
Miscellaneous people turning dials and whatnot.
Yeah, more stock footage. But it all blends beautifully, doesn't it?
It does. That's the job of the editor, to make it look like it blends.
We were remarking about how clear and how clean the stock footage was in the Saucer movie, which has even more footage than this one. But the fact that you were able to get such clean footage, none of this has been repaired. It was all just this way. But it was good, unscratched footage, even then. And that seems unusual.
Well, some of it probably was never used in the pictures it was designed for.
It may have just been used once or never, possibly.
And then it came into the stock library.
Yeah.
See, people want to get their money back
Of
after
course.
they've invested.
Oh, the Golden Gate.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like a rear projection photograph.
Just behind him.
Yeah. Behind that, it's a little wiggle there.
Oh, there's a bird.
Oh,
So
here
it's
it comes.
orange.
Hello.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So your miniature, you built that. That's a photograph of the bridge.
That's a miniature with its
and the
tentacles, and
foreground. Yeah,
the
okay.
top part is a real bridge.
Right. Okay. And you said that you actually painted it orange when you were.
No,
You
it was
Gray?
orange, but gray and black and white, of course.
Yeah, but you actually painted it the color so you could. The actual color.
Oh
was.
yes, the miniature
Yes.
part, the section was painted the same
So
color.
was that 2 feet, 3 feet? How tall was that section?
The little section was about that far.
2 feet.
About 2
Forey
feet.
had
2
it. I
feet.
gave it
Yep.
to Forey, and he had it for a long time. I think he sold it to Peter Jackson.
There's a photo. Isn't there a photograph of
That's
that?
a safe bet.
Yes, Peter
Right.
Jackson has about everything. There's a photograph of that section in your book, I believe.
I think so,
Showing
yes.
the wiring.
It's black and white, of course.
Black and white, of course. So anybody watching this who wants to see the original will have to go to New Zealand, I'm afraid. And we can't book passage.
So, this is the Presidio of San Francisco, where ILM now is.
That's right.
After seeing this so many times in black and white, it's a very strange experience to see it in color, because I'm very familiar
It
with
is.
this picture.
It's more effective in color, isn't it?
It is.
Much more.
But the color is very good. That's what keeps.
It's much better than the older colorized stuff.
I was telling
in
you
general.
when we were talking earlier, I was saying that Ray was resistant to this originally because he remembered how Mighty Joe Young and King Kong looked back in the late '80s, which was a very early test or experimentation with colorization. So I had to show him a resume reel or a test reel from the company that would be involved, and that changed his mind, and understandably, because it's just a totally different experience.
But glorious black and white is exactly that. It's really wonderful. But
Well,
this is,
originally
you know,
they released The Beast from 20,000 Fathom in glorious sepia tone.
that's right.
I saw 5 legs on that octopus.
You don't count them because a lot of them are underwater.
There we go. Now this particular, you have one fairly large.
3, he
Yeah,
said.
that's a single
3 different
tentacle.
scales.
No,
of
three
the-
different,
of the-
three different large
tentacles?
tentacles, right?
Yeah.
For close-up
for different
work.
They were
scales.
about that long.
So about 3
and
feet
on
long.
2 scales.
A
But,
screw
yeah.
device so that
This is
you can
good.
push
oh,
them
it's
up.
great, isn't it?
So how big was that model there? That
That model's the same. I only had one model.
Okay.
That was one of the big tentacles, that particular shot.
And that car was made out of lead, so it would crush? Something like that?
That was made specially out of lead, a miniature.
And you used the same technique you used on the Beast, where you had a screw below your table, and you brought the lead down frame by frame.
Then this one
Same
too
thing.
had to be slowly frame by frame.
And what was that made out of? To crush like that?
The bridge was made out of lead.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
That's good. So what was the concrete? What was the? Do you recall?
Plaster, just plaster. Yeah.
Straight plaster.
But this, all the work on there. I mean, all the wires and all the keeping.
Things falling.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That would have taken you the longest of any of your other scenes. That was probably.
When you have multiple pieces that have to fly in different directions.
Right. And how would you do a falling piece?
Well, on a wire.
All wires.
You lower it frame at a time?
A frame at a time.
How do you get the wires out?
You paint them out.
Paint them out.
If the same wire in the same lighting condition is going in front of something light and something dark,
well, then you have to match the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
And that takes time.
See, Randy was the stop motion guy. That I'm not. I was an animator, but
yes.
one of two.
Yeah.
The junior partner in the firm.
I'm just referring to us, not.
Yes. Okay.
And so he probably understands this. I'm trying to figure it out.
Still?
Well, we don't do that anymore. We just paint them out.
But you paint them the same color as the background. You have to look through the camera each frame.
That's right.
What used to be a shot is like common practice now.
Yeah.
Removing a wire out of a live action.
Well, you can do it so easily with computers.
Yeah,
you can,
that you don't even consider it.
They can be a big cable about a foot in diameter, and they can blot it out.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in how you did that, and you had to do it by eye.
Yeah, in front of the camera, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, you're the audience watching this, so that's good. And the fact that you're not as knowledgeable about stop motion as Randy, because you're asking questions that the audience watching this would be asking if they were with us. So
Well,
that's
for
great.
years we adopted Ray's not only animation technique but his compositing technique as well. I mean, I was taught it by Jim Danforth and Dave Allen, and through observation, of course, knew what you'd been up to, and it was and is a very versatile technique. And the thing that wasn't discussed earlier was that when you put the puppet in front of a rear projection screen, then you've got to put the stuff that's in front of the puppet in front of the puppet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Ray would paint out a mat for everything that was in the foreground, and then. Yeah, and then so the puppet was split into the shot basically. So he'd finish animating it, and then take the animation table out, rewind the projector and the camera back to frame 0, and then put the counter mat in. So this was all a rear projection screen except for the puppet. The live action was shot twice. I mean, this was shot once, but exposed twice in the animation.
Yes, once
phase.
on the rear projection and once original.
Yeah.
So none of these techniques are blue screen here. None of this is
None of
a
this
screen.
is blue screen.
It's
No.
all projection.
We couldn't afford it. It was expensive.
So how did you do the split there with the
Well, I
tentacle
put a
in
split
the water?
in the water with the mat in the
With the mat.
foreground.
Yeah. And you also diffused the tentacle in a number of those shots, didn't you?
Yes, so that it looked like it was a
Distance,
back.
yeah.
Otherwise, it was too sharp.
Which is a difficult thing to do to get diffuse lighting onto these puppets in front of a screen, because the screen, with non-directional light would bounce. You'd fog out the screen. So what was your technique for diffusing the information or diffusing the light in front of the puppet? Did you paint on glass, or did you? Or do you care to talk about it?
I don't care to talk about it. I have nothing to say.
Okay, all right.
Frankly, I don't quite remember.
Oh, okay.
It's so long ago, But I did, most of it was airbrushed on the glass.
On the glass,
Yeah.
yes. I've been told that by Steve Archer, one of your protégés.
Yeah. Secrets revealed.
Yes.
But I think the less the audience knows of the technical background, the better, because they can enjoy it much more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean,
When
that
you
would
start
that would sort of cut down our talking time, wouldn't it? If we
This was a miniature there, combined with live action.
No, it's perfectly blended.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Great split screen there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ray actually has that ferry station or that section in his home
All right.
in London. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still kept
Still
that.
there.
Well, there's a wonderful, large amount of animation in the last 20 minutes of this movie. It's just almost every scene has a shot in it. It's great.
And a number of them, like what's coming up here, which is not only tentacles but architecture, and lots of it.
Yeah, I had to substitute the miniature tower clock with the real one on the medium shots.
A matte painting.
Probably the only matte painting in this.
That's the only matte.
Yeah.
That was an afterthought. Yeah.
But it was on screen just enough, probably 2 seconds at the most, right? Just enough to set the stage, going through the periscope.
Hello, Leslie. I'd like to find something that would...
So who was the actual, when you're building little miniature towers? Who built those?
Oh, Willis Cook built them, and he was a good construction man.
He was subcontracted. He
Yes,
didn't work for Columbia.
subcontracted.
He
built
worked
the
on
miniature.
Beast as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he built the Scenic Railway and out of balsa wood. And
The roller coaster. Did
The
he also
roller
build
coaster,
the lighthouse? Did he build that
he
one?
built the
He built
lighthouse, too.
so-
Yes, yes.
So he was very helpful to you.
Oh,
That's
yes,
great.
very. And he would build it to proportion so it would look exactly like the real one.
That's a great
See,
shot.
this
Now-
had to be blended together, and some people ran through the matte line.
Yes, they
So
did.
I had to doctor it up afterwards.
Look at
Now,
all
falling-
those things going.
Falling is all
Each
little
one on a
wires.
wire,
Each one
separate
on a
wire.
Interesting.
Mercy. But when that fella ran through the matte line, are you going to reveal
Well, I
that
had-
dynamation secret? We all have our theories.
You have your theories. Well, in some cases, I would make a photograph.
This is
from
what
the
I
negative.
remember.
This was. I would make a photograph and cut the head out
Yeah.
as a photograph and put on the glass in the foreground.
And animate that along.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The various techniques.
Yeah.
Depends on what the situation is at the
Well,
time.
I believe that's what you were doing on that particular shot, having looked at it many times.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Stop. All stop. All stop, sir.
And who built the? This clearly was a metal armature for
The
legs.
arms, the
Oh, my
tentacles.
dad.
Your dad.
Your dad.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting.
He was a
Your dad was a
machinist.
He was
machinist.
a machinist, and he built the ball and socket armatures until
Really?
he passed away, and then I had to get someone in London to do it.
But he was with you on these until what? Golden Voyage? Is that when he?
Yeah.
Up to that point. Huh? Did all the based on Ray's designs. He would.
I would
create them.
send my designs on tissue paper to him, and he'd make them there, and then ship them to me when they were finished.
And he lived where?
Here in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Ah.
Now the octopus is screaming. Of course, this had to happen.
Well, that hurts.
It must hurt. I mean, we've never heard an octopus scream, and never will. But in this film, we
Now
did.
he's green.
Now he's.
And the animation buffs will be screaming if I don't ask about the embarrassing question. How did you get that fire?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Frankly.
Okay, I had to ask you. I know you didn't remember.
I had to make it look like it went around him. you
Yeah.
know, in the front and the back.
It's rear projection fire, but it has to go in front of the creature
And behind.
and behind. Yes. But and the behind the creature isn't the problem, is it?
Not so much.
Yes.
It's put
It's
it in
front.
I have to wind the film back and make a matte, hand-drawn matte every frame.
Gotcha.
Here I cheated a bit, and some of them I did double framing.
But then you use ripple glass in there to cover up
Yes,
some of that.
to give the underwater. The other was a projection plate on top.
A projection plate of the surface of the water
that
flop,
was shot
sort
from
of?
underwater.
Oh, it
yeah.
was shot from underwater, huh?
It was a stock footage.
This is where we came in.
What do we do now, sir?
We stay and explode our torpedo, get blown apart ourselves, and we think faster than we've ever thought before.
Tension. Will this end?
I want a man to stand by the escape hatch. Break out an aqua lung
And some of those yellow diving suits. Yes.
I'll nominate myself if you're calling for volunteers, sir.
This is a personal matter, Griff. I'm reserving that pleasure for myself.
I see all.
Oh, they are yellow, yes. That's nice. That looks real.
Where was this tank? Do you have any idea? Was it on the studio lot? Would they have this underwater?
Yeah, that was shot in some tank. That
Some tank on the lot.
They had.
Rear projection.
So this scuba was new then, actually. You know, Jacques Cousteau invented the aqualung. Invented
Right.
this.
This was all relatively new. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
For audiences to see this, quite unusual.
Ouch! Ouch!
So the scale of the set, that was your biggest view of the octopus underwater.
Oh, the what?
And the dock. The
Oh yeah, it
scale
was
of
one of the big
dock.
tentacles. Yes, to get the detail.
So
I wanted a wrinkled effect on the skin on the outside. You know how I did that?
no.
I took tin foil and crumbled it up, and then
painted it?
made a cast.
And
then cast it in
For
rubber.
the skin.
Yes.
Excellent.
Viewers, timer to set for as long as you need.
Now, young animators all over the country are going to do that. They're going to take some tin foil and
Makes
made
good skin
made a
texture.
plaster mold. Yeah, no
makes
kidding.
good
No
skin.
kidding.
Yeah.
No, that was. There you go.
This could have been shortened a bit, but too late.
Well,
now.
I don't know
Still
that.
editing, are you?
I don't know that. That you're getting a lot of help from the composer. Frankly, this is.
No, this is from a different film, I'm sure. It's a little bit repetitive. But will the hero survive? Of course.
Will the harpist survive?
Will
That's
the
what I
harpist
want to know.
survive?
So this was made from.
That was just a double exposure.
Hence the yellow suit, perhaps, or were they? Or is that the reason for the light-colored suit, or is that?
Yes.
So how big was
Yes.
this?
So that you
particular?
could print it over.
Now here,
Right.
this is a separate piece. This eye, you
Yes,
made that separately,
was
right?
separately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
In turmoil. He's just in turmoil.
He's in agony. What would you do if somebody shot you in the eye?
That's probably
Here's
true.
a question for you. Did you actually have a name for that particular character as you were
The octopus,
working
you
with?
mean?
Yeah,
No.
just a working.
You don't name octopuses.
Oh, okay.
You named your gorilla, Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah, that was Jennifer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's
there
what I
you go.
mean. You didn't have a pet name while you were shooting this.
No, I didn't have a pet name.
Wasn't
That was I just didn't think about an octopus having a pet name.
Bob or Jim or
Yeah.
nothing like that. No. No. And it wasn't alluring enough to be a woman's name, as Jennifer had
Like
been.
Clytemnestra or something.
Clytemnestra,
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon.
Oh, it blew the thing to smithereens. Oh.
And we're back to the stock footage of the sub.
No blood.
they're the two heroes. And it's nice that both of the lead actors in this get a chance to be heroic. Tobey
and survive.
Yes, but they have become equals in that respect. It's nice.
And they don't try to outdo one another.
No, it's a nice balance.
The guy gives up the girl with free will.
It's we're watching a black and white TV because at that time there were no color photos, and that was or color television. So that's a nice.
They're drinking
nice
absinthe.
touch.
What is this? Oh, I see. It's martinis.
A little martini with a little olive.
The crossing guards and street railway employees of this city.
Well, I guess that's it. The sub's been ordered up patrol. We'll be on sea duty for a few months. I'll be seeing you, John. Soon, I hope. Will I be seeing you, Leslie?
You mean when I get back from Cairo?
I mean, women can change. Move away, get married. Have
I
families.
get interested in their dialogue.
There is that possibility.
Yeah.
Hence the silence.
Yes. We want to know who gets together.
Yeah.
Well,
This has been great fun.
Yeah.
And John gets a chance to relive a childhood memory
Oh, yeah.
of his family. And we hope we've purged all the fears you may have had back in the
I get
1950s. Wonderful. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, John. Thank you, Randy. And I hope
pleasure.
everybody enjoyed our little discussion. And the Columbia Lady with the Torch bids us farewell.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.